Most people believe effort comes after connection, after interest, after liking. They think people decide how much energy to invest in you once they understand you. Your story, your intentions, your personality. But human behavior doesn't work that way. Psychology shows something far less comfortable. People adjust how they treat you before you explain anything, before you speak at length, before you prove yourself. They don't wait to understand you. They react to what they sense. That adjustment isn't conscious. It happens automatically, through posture, timing, presence, emotional availability. And once it happens, it quietly determines how much attention, patience, respect, and effort people give you, often without knowing why. Human behavior is pattern-based. The brain is constantly scanning for predictability. It asks simple questions. Is this familiar? Is this stable? Is this safe to engage with? And it answers those questions without words. Through posture, timing, tone, energy, emotional availability. These cues are processed automatically, long before logic enters the picture. This is why two people can say the same thing, in the same situation, with the same effort, and receive completely different reactions. Not because one matters more, but because their nervous systems are communicating different expectations. Behavior is not just what you do. It is what your presence teaches. Every interaction teaches people something. Not through explanation, but through repetition. Your behavior becomes instruction, not because you tell people what to do, but because you show them what is allowed, what feels appropriate, what feels expected. If your responses are brief, people learn not to linger. If your reactions are muted, people learn not to bring intensity. If your presence feels resolved, people learn not to invest further. None of this is intentional. Most signals are learned unintentionally. They form during moments when a specific response reduced discomfort. And because the brain values efficiency, it repeats what once worked. Maybe staying quiet avoided conflict. Maybe agreeing prevented rejection. Maybe pulling back stopped disappointment. Your nervous system noticed, even if you didn't. It registered which behaviors lowered tension, which versions of you required less effort from others. Over time, those behaviors stopped feeling like strategies. They started feeling like personality. This is how protection becomes identity. You don't remember choosing it because you didn't. It was chosen through repetition, through experience, through survival logic. And once a pattern feels familiar, the brain treats it as truth. This is where confusion begins. You may describe yourself as calm, independent, low maintenance, emotionally mature, and those labels sound positive. But behavior does not speak in labels. It speaks in permission. Permission to approach, permission to rely, permission to engage deeply, or permission to keep distance. When a signal remains consistent, people stop questioning it. They assume it reflects what you want, not what you intend, not what you need, but what feels allowed. And they respond accordingly, quietly, without confrontation, without explanation. Narn, this explains a common frustration: feeling liked but not pursued, respected but not chosen, included but not deeply engaged. Nothing is overtly wrong. People are polite, kind, appropriate, and yet something feels missing. Because politeness is not invitation, stability is not openness. Behavior teaches people where emotional boundaries exist, even when no boundary was consciously set. So others stay within the limits they perceive, not because they don't care, but because they don't want to intrude. This is not rejection, it is adjustment. This is why changing outcomes without changing signals rarely works. You can want deeper connection, more engagement, more presence. But if your behavior still communicates restraint, people respond with restraint. Humans mirror what feels safe. Effort follows perceived permission. If behavior does not signal space for more, most people will not risk stepping closer. Not out of indifference, but out of adaptation. They are adjusting to what the interaction seems to allow. Understanding this removes blame. No one is doing this to you, and you are not doing this on purpose. Once you see this, you begin noticing subtle things. How quickly you reassure others, how often you soften statements, how rarely you pause before responding. These micro behaviors matter. They communicate how much emotional weight the interaction can carry. Someone who never pauses signals availability without depth. Someone who explains immediately signals discomfort with ambiguity. Someone who avoids emphasis signals that intensity is unwelcome. None of this is wrong, but all of it is instructive. People adapt to what feels allowed. Over time, these signals shape entire relationships, not through dramatic moments, but through accumulation. The pattern becomes invisible because it feels normal. This is why many people feel misunderstood without being mistreated. They are treated well, but not deeply. Because depth requires permission. And permission is behavioral, not verbal. Most people never ask for more because your behavior suggests you don't want it. Not consciously, but consistently. And consistency always wins. This is not rejection. It is calibration. This realization is uncomfortable because it shifts attention inward, not toward blame, but toward awareness. Instead of asking, why don't people engage more? You begin asking, what am I signaling habitually? Not intentionally, but repeatedly. This question creates choice. You are not broken, and you do not need to become someone else. You are observing how your system communicates. Behavior is language, and like any language, it can be adjusted, not through force, but through clarity. The goal is not to become louder or more expressive or different. The goal is alignment. Many people want depth but signal restraint, want closeness but signal self-sufficiency, want understanding but signal emotional resolution. People respond logically. They respect what appears complete. They do not push where nothing seems missing. This is why behavior change precedes relational change, and why understanding behavior is more effective than analyzing. Personality. You are not fixed, and neither are your signals. They are patterns. Patterns do not shift through force. They shift through interruption. Small changes, not dramatic ones. Pausing before smoothing over a moment. Allowing silence without filling it. Letting curiosity replace explanation. These moments recalibrate signals. They tell the nervous system this interaction can hold more. Not because you demanded it, but because you allowed it. Over time, behavior changes how people respond. Not through effort, but through communication. This is how safety expands without pressure. At first, this feels uncomfortable, because efficiency feels safe. Letting moments remain unresolved feels risky. But risk is how new data enters the system. The brain updates through experience, not logic. Each interruption teaches something new. That presence does not always end in harm. That silence does not always lead to loss. That depth does not automatically create instability. These lessons accumulate slowly. They become tolerance, then capacity, then openness. Not forced, but earned. You may still feel the urge to pull back. That does not mean failure. It means recalibration. Years of adaptation do not dissolve instantly. But each time you notice the pattern without obeying it, you loosen its grip. Each time you stay 1 second longer, without explaining, without minimizing, you reclaim something that was never meant to be lost. Invisibility stops feeling like relief and starts feeling like limitation. That shift is not regression. It is growth. You are allowed to take up emotional space without justification. You are allowed to be affected without explanation. You are allowed to want without negotiating your worth. The right connections will not require disappearance to maintain peace. They will not confuse restraint with strength or silence with maturity. They will respond to what is present, not what is hidden. If this felt uncomfortable, that is not a problem. It means something accurate was touched. Once you see the signals, you regain choice, and choice changes everything.